What if I told you that the reason everything seems stuck in your life isn't a punishment, but a preparation? What if, right now, something immense is unfolding, but hidden from your view? You think nothing ever changes, but Allah doesn't need time to change your destiny. Sometimes He simply waits until your heart is ready to receive what He is about to give you, because He says, "The time has come." This is the moment of your breakthrough, the moment when your silence becomes a celebration. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear might just be the sign you've been waiting for. Have you ever noticed that strange silence before Allah changes something in your life? That suspended moment where everything seems to have stopped, where prayers accumulate in your heart but don't seem to reach the heavens. You continue to make dua, to hope, to wait, but everything seems still. And deep down, you wonder, will anything really change? This silence isn't emptiness. It isn't abandonment. It's a language Allah uses, but one that few people know how to listen to. It's the breath before the breath of destiny, the calm before the breakthrough. A silence that tests your heart, refines your intention, and prepares your soul to receive what it isn't yet ready to bear, you see. When Allah is about to change your life, He often begins by taking away the noise, the distractions, the people, the things that kept you comfortable. It creates distance, not to punish you, but so that you can hear what you no longer listen to. Because as long as your heart is too noisy, it cannot hear the guidance, and that is why this silence is frightening. Because it forces you to face yourself, your fears, your doubts, your wounds, your regrets. It forces you to look within yourself, to where you hide the things you refuse to confront. But it is precisely there, in this apparent solitude, that change begins. This silence is the moment when Allah teaches you to depend on Him alone. Perhaps you don't understand what He is doing. Perhaps you are thinking, I have tried everything, I have prayed, I have waited, and nothing changes. But sometimes, nothing seems to change on the outside, because something is being reorganized inside. Allah works in the unseen. He gently, sometimes abruptly, gently frees you from what held you back, but always with a wisdom you will only see afterward. Think about it. How many times have you thought something was ending when, in reality, it was the beginning of another stage? How many times have you mourned a loss before understanding that it was a liberation? What you call a trial, He calls a transition. What you see as emptiness, He sees as a space He is preparing to fill. The silence before the turning point is the moment when Allah removes what prevents you from receiving, because He will never give you a blessing that you are not yet able to protect. He teaches you patience not as passive waiting, but as an inner process of building every day when nothing seems to happen. Something is being built within you, a strength, a wisdom, a depth. You don't see it, but it grows in silence, like a seed buried in the earth. And that is the beauty of divine preparation. You never know it was preparation until everything changes. Until that sudden silence takes on its full meaning, until you realize that in reality, Allah was listening to you all along. But He wanted you to learn to hear Him differently, not in the noise of promises, but in the peace of your heart. Perhaps you are in that phase now. Perhaps everything seems frozen, uncertain, without answers. You don't know it yet, but it is often at this precise moment that Allah is closest. When you think He is silent, He is orchestrating what you cannot even imagine. He is shifting things, people, situations, invisibly. He is setting in motion the coincidences you will later call miracles. So don't confuse Allah's silence with His absence. He is there, in the stillness, in the emptiness, in that feeling of waiting that exhausts you but shapes you.
What you are experiencing is not an end, it is a gestation. And like every birth, it takes place in secrecy, sometimes in pain, but always with the promise of light. Silence is Allah's signature on the most important moments of your life. It is not a wall, it is a veil. And behind this veil, He is preparing the scene for your next chapter. You cannot see it yet, because the time is not right, but soon you will understand why He made you wait, why He isolated you, why He made you go through this pause. Because this silence is not the end of your story. It is just the beat before the symphony, the breath before the change. The moment when Allah whispers to your heart, hold on, the moment is coming. And it is precisely at that moment that everything begins to shift. Imagine yourself walking on a moonless night. The wind is cold, the path uncertain. There are no signs, no flames, no voices to guide you. Only this heavy silence, and your heart beating, as if to remind you that you are still alive. You can't see the end of the road. You no longer even know why you keep going. Each step seems identical to the last. Each prayer seems lost in the void. And yet, you continue. Because deep down, there is that tiny spark that nothing has managed to extinguish. Hope. You think you are lost. But in truth, it is in this darkness that Allah guides you. You don't see it, but He places signs along your path. Coincidences, delays, encounters, silences. You think you are walking alone, while with each step, an invisible hand gently pushes you toward what awaits you. Allah doesn't always guide you with visible lights. Sometimes, He guides you with shadows, so that you learn to walk with your heart. There are times when Allah hides the light, not to punish you, but to teach you faith without visibility, because believing when everything is clear isn't faith, it's logic. But believing when everything is dark, when nothing makes sense, when you see no way out, that's when your heart truly becomes a believer. Look closely at your life. Remember the times when you thought it was all over, when everything you had built crumbled, when you no longer understood why everything suddenly closed down. But months later, you realized that this destruction was actually protection. What you called loss, Allah called rescue. He pulled you out of what would have destroyed you before you even understood why. That is the hidden light. It doesn't shine above you. It burns within you. It compels you to continue, even when everything seems over. And this inner flame, it is Allah who kindles it. It is His way of telling you, I'm here, even in the night, even when you cannot see me. Darkness is not a punishment. It is a secret chamber where Allah works on your soul. He temporarily encloses you there to heal you of what the light would have concealed. Because some wounds can only heal in secret, hidden from view in the inner sanctum of the heart. And when He sees that you are ready, He lifts the veil, and the light returns, purer, deeper, gentler. But before that, you must go through the night. Don't run from it. Don't avoid it. Go through it. Because it's only by walking in the dark that you discover the light that was already dormant within you. You see, Allah never takes the light from your life without reason. He hides it so that you learn to no longer depend on it. He wants you to understand that external light was never the source. It was Him, from the beginning. And that's why He sometimes plunges you into total darkness, so that you stop looking around you for what exists only in Him. There's a secret that many don't know. Night, in spiritual language, is often the sign of a new beginning. It comes before dawn, not after, So if your life is plunged into confusion, if you no longer understand what you're going through, it may not be the end. Perhaps this is simply the last hour before your day breaks, because no night lasts forever. And when Allah decides it's time, dawn doesn't ask permission to appear. It bursts forth. It pierces the darkness with a single ray. It extinguishes everything that frightened you. And when that light comes, for it will come, you will understand why everything had to happen this way. You will see that nothing was against you, that everything you experienced was meticulously aligned to lead you to where you were meant to be, that even the detour, the silences, the falls, the delays, were all part of the plan. You will realize that the night was not your enemy. It was your teacher. It taught you trust, patience, surrender, and closeness. And when you finally emerge from this darkness, you will no longer be the same person. You will be more lucid, more at peace, more aware of Allah in every detail. You will no longer need to see to believe. You will believe even in the dark. And it is there, at that precise moment, that the light bursts forth. Not timidly, not gently, but with the power of a divine promise fulfilled, as if Allah was saying, "Enough, he has been patient, he has wept, he has persevered. Now, see what I can do." And the most beautiful thing about all this is that you already carried this light within you from the very beginning. Have you ever felt drained? Not just physically tired? No, drained from the inside out. Like even the faith you thought was unshakable is starting to tremble, like you're looking up at the sky, but no answer is coming down. You repeat the same supplications every night, your voice trembling, your heart heavy, but nothing changes. And you end up thinking, maybe Allah has forgotten me. But no, what you're experiencing isn't being forgotten. It's being rebuilt. Only, it's not what you imagined. When Allah decides to rebuild you, He often starts by breaking you down. Not to destroy you, but to free you from what's holding you back. Because sometimes you're still clinging too tightly to what's dragging you down. To a relationship, a dream, a version of yourself that no longer aligns with what He wants you to be, so He removes it. One by one. Everything you thought was necessary to survive. And in this void, He creates. You cry out, you fall, you doubt. But it is in this void that faith is rebuilt. Not the faith you had before. No. A purer, more conscious, more real faith. When you think it's all over, it's often because you're looking with the eyes of the past. But Allah, He looks with the vision of your future. He already sees you on the other side of the pain. He knows that this trial, which you hate today, will be your witness tomorrow. The day you understand why He closed all the doors, you will thank Him for the ones He didn't open. Do you know why it's so painful? Because Allah doesn't just change your circumstances, He changes your heart, and the heart resists. It wants to understand, it wants to control. But Allah wants you to let go, to stop clinging to what you believe is good for you, and to trust Him enough to say, "I don't understand, but I trust you anyway." That's the invisible turning point. The moment you move from complaining to submission, from fear to peace. That moment when you stop asking, "Why me?" and start saying, "Show me what you want to teach me." You see, there are blessings that Allah cannot grant you as long as your heart is still clinging to your own plans. Because if you received them now, you would waste them. You wouldn't understand their value. That's why He removes them from you first, so that you may learn to receive in a different way. And it's often when you think your life is in ruins, that in reality, Allah has just laid its foundations. He destroys what is unstable to build something solid. But in the moment, all you see is dust. You don't yet understand that He is building your future from the fragments of your present. How many times have you thought it was over, and yet you're still here? How many times have you thought you would never recover, and yet you breathe, you move forward, you still pray? This isn't luck. It's proof. Proof that even in your deepest despair, Allah has held you. You thought you were falling alone, but He carried you without you even realizing it. When you reach that point where you have nothing left, you finally discover the one who is sufficient. When you lose everything that comforted you, you encounter the one who never changes, and it is often in this fall that you first experience what divine closeness truly is. Not in ease, but in the shattering. Not in comfort, but in the breaking. Because at the heart of despair lies a hidden truth. It is when you have nothing left to offer that Allah can finally fill you. As long as you believe you can still save yourself, He lets you try. But when you collapse to your knees, empty-handed, He says to you, "Now, let me do it." And that is where the miracle begins. Not outside, inside. It's not the world around you that changes first. It's your perspective, your understanding, your peace. You don't yet see the result, but you already feel a gentle light settling in your heart. You don't know where it comes from, but it soothes you. And you realize, Allah has never abandoned you. It was you who had stopped recognizing Him in the chaos you thought it was over. But what you called the end, Allah calls the beginning again. And what you believed to be destruction was actually the birth of a new version of yourself, stronger, more humble, closer to Him. So the next time everything falls apart, don't ask why. Simply tell yourself, perhaps Allah is rebuilding me from what broke me. And it is often at this moment that the first glimmers of renewal begin to appear. Do you think Allah has forgotten you? Then why does your heart keep calling to Him, even when all seems lost? Why, in the depths of your pain, is it still His name that escapes you between tears? Do you think He has left you alone? Then tell me, where does this strange strength come from that keeps you from completely collapsing? This breath you don't understand, the one that lifts you up again when everything within you wants to give up. Do you really think it comes from within you? Do you think your prayers change nothing? Then why, despite the disappointments, despite the weariness, despite the apparent silence of heaven, do you continue to pray? You continue because something within you knows. Something within you refuses to abandon the one who has already saved you 1,000 times without you even realizing it. Do you think everything is against you? But look closely. Every loss has brought you back to Him. Every pain has taught you something peace could never teach you. Every person who has left has freed up space for a greater presence, His. Do you think you're losing everything? What if, instead of losing everything, you're simply being realigned? What if Allah isn't taking you away, but repositioning you? Because He knows that what you wanted wasn't what your soul needed. Do you want me to tell you a secret? Sometimes, when you feel like your life is falling apart, Allah isn't. He's putting it back together. But at your pace, you don't see it yet. You see the pieces falling, He sees the final picture. Do you think your waiting is a pointless emptiness? No. Your waiting is preparation. Every day that passes without a visible answer is a day Allah is working unseen. He shifts, He delays, He protects, He refines. He moves you away from what you want to bring you closer to what you truly deserve. What if this waiting you curse today is actually proof that something immense is about to happen? Because Allah never makes you wait without purpose. He makes those He is about to elevate wait. He delays to purify, to solidify, so that when the blessing arrives, it doesn't crush you, but lifts you up. Do you think you have no value? Then why does your soul resist emptiness so much? Why do you still feel this need to pray, even when you no longer understand why you do it? It's not weakness. It's a reminder. A reminder that your heart was created for Allah, and that it is simply struggling to find its center again. Do you think you are not making progress? Look closer. It's not that you're not moving forward. It's that Allah is guiding you through your inner journey before opening the outer world to you. He is shaping you in secret, through patience, through pain, through sleepless nights. Because the light that comes too soon burns. But the light that comes after darkness illuminates. Do you think that everything you're experiencing is meaningless? What if, on the contrary, every detail of this chaos was perfectly measured? What if these delays, these silences, these no's that you don't understand were answers higher than what you could have asked for? Perhaps Allah hasn't told you no. Perhaps He has told you not yet. Because what He has in store for you cannot be received with the heart you have today. He wants to expand it first, purify it, stabilize it. Do you think you're invisible? But if Allah left you invisible, why would He have chosen you to go through what He entrusted to no one else? What if this weight you carry, this burden that seems too great, is precisely proof of His trust in you? Because He doesn't entrust the hardest trials to the weakest hearts. He entrusts them to those He wants to draw closer. Do you think you're falling? No. You're being brought to your knees. Because sometimes Allah brings you to the ground. Just so you learn to raise your hands, He bends you, not to break you, but to remind you where strength lies. In submission, not in resistance. What if, in reality, you weren't forgotten, but chosen? Chosen to experience this moment of inner transformation that you will only understand afterward. Chosen to be shaped, stripped bare, rebuilt by the very hand of Allah. Because those He truly loves, He never leaves unchanged. He raises them up through paths that no one understands but themselves. So no, you haven't been forgotten. You are simply being shaped. And this silence you feel is the sound of your soul being polished. Your heart burns, yes. But it's the fire of the forge, not the fire of the end. It's the warmth of transformation. And somewhere, behind all this turmoil, behind these nights of doubt, behind these prayers you believe are lost, something is approaching, something unexpected, something Allah is preparing just for you. You cannot see it yet, but soon you will understand why He put you through all this.
Seeds don't grow in the light. They are born in the dark earth, in the dampness, in the silence below, where no one sees them, where nothing seems to move. They wait, they split, they tear, and it is this fracture, this small inner burst, that marks the beginning of life. It's the same for you. You want your growth to be visible, your breakthrough spectacular. But Allah always makes things germinate in secret. He hides your transformation, just as He hides life in the soil. Because before your outward appearance changes, He first wants your inner self to take root. You don't know it, but in your silence, in your solitude, something within you is growing, a deeper faith, a peace that nothing can steal from you, a light that no longer depends on the world around you. But you don't see it yet, because the seed, when it's underground, sometimes believes it has been buried, but in reality, it has been planted. And so have you. You have not been abandoned. You have been planted in soil known only to Allah. And even if, for now, everything seems dark, it is precisely there that life begins to take shape. Allah never allows a soul to blossom before it is ready to bear what is to come. He conceals it, He prepares it, He strengthens it. Because premature light
burns what has not yet taken root, so he keeps you in the darkness a little longer. Not to punish you, but to protect you. Because patience is the son of the unseen. You see, the roots develop before the leaves. This is also a spiritual law. Before your life ascends, Allah lowers your soul deeper. He teaches you to persevere when no one sees you, to hope when no one understands you, to believe when no one encourages you. He nurtures you in silence so that, when the light comes, you will not be swept away by it. The seed doesn't understand why it must first be broken, but without that break, there would be no germination. And you, without what you have lost, would not be becoming who you are. The cracks in your heart are not mistakes. They are the passages through which the light will one day enter. You think your life is at a standstill, but Allah is digging the foundations. You think nothing grows, but beneath the surface, the roots extend, strengthen, and intertwine with the plans of the heavens, and one day, without warning, the earth will split open. Something within you will emerge, stronger, more stable, more authentic. This emergence is your breakthrough. It's not a sudden miracle that came out of nowhere. It's the harvest of long, unseen work. Every tear, every moment of patience, every unanswered prayer at your own pace was a drop of water nourishing this seed you couldn't see. Allah doesn't always give warning before transforming your life. He lets you believe that nothing is moving, that everything is asleep, that everything is over. And suddenly, everything changes at once. You don't expect it, you don't understand, but you feel it, like a light bursting forth from beneath the earth, like a truth your soul recognizes even before your mind grasps it. And when that moment comes, you will understand everything. You will see that every no of yesterday wasn't a closure, but a redirection, that every blocked door kept you further from what would have harmed you, that every season of solitude taught you to no longer define yourself by others. Every failure, every seemingly unanswered prayer was in reality a higher answer, but delayed. For Allah never gives before the perfect moment. You will then understand that the earth that enveloped you was not your tomb, but your cradle, and that what you believed to be an end was in truth the first breath of your rebirth. But on that day, you will no longer be the same person. You will no longer seek to shine too quickly. You will no longer demand to understand immediately. You will know that divine growth always occurs in secrecy, in slowness, in humility. You will walk with the quiet certainty of one who knows. Everything that remained hidden had a reason. Everything that seemed empty was filling up. And then you will cease to fear the silence. You will bless the night. You will even thank the dark earth that enveloped you, because it is the earth that kept you alive, that made you grow, that drew you closer to Allah without your realizing it. And on that day, you will raise your eyes to the sky. You will see the light flooding over you, and your heart will know, this is it. But just before that happens, there is one last whisper, the one that says, wait a little longer. The most beautiful thing is about to blossom.
And then, one day without warning, everything changes. Not slowly, not gradually, no. Everything shifts, as if the heavens, after observing you in silence, finally decide to speak. As if Allah whispers to your soul, the time has come. You feel something shift, without knowing what. A strange peace, a different breath. It's not that external things become simpler. No, it's your gaze that lifts. Your heart understands what your mind hasn't yet grasped. Allah is at work. And when Allah acts, nothing and no one can stop what happens. You will see things you no longer thought possible. Paths will open without you seeking them. Blessings you didn't even ask for will come knocking at your door.
Opportunities will arise out of nowhere, divinely placed encounters, perfect timing, the kind that will make you say, "It's not me, it's Him." This is not a coincidence. It's an appointment your soul had long ago made with His mercy. You have journeyed through the night, you have waited in silence, you have wept in the unseen. And now, heaven is responding. It's not because you are finally ready. It's because He has decided the time has come. Because even your preparation was part of His plan. Every failure, every detour, every prayer left unanswered. Everything was aligned for this precise moment. Nothing was lost. Nothing was in vain. Even the days when you doubted, even the nights when you no longer believed. Everything served to shape you for this hour. When Allah says, "The time has come," it is not a human moment. It is a celestial orchestration. Everything rearranges itself. Circumstances, hearts, places, times. What you call chance becomes divine precision. The pieces of the puzzle finally fall into place. You realize that what you thought were delays were in reality only preparations. You look back and you see wisdom in every wound. You see mercy in every loss. You see the hand of Allah in every turn. And suddenly, everything you had experienced makes sense. That is the moment when Allah says, "The time has come." It is the moment when your past, your present, and your future converge under His will. The moment when patience becomes harvest. The moment when silence transforms into music. The moment you understand that you were never alone, even when you were walking in the void. And then, peace washes over you. Not a fleeting peace, not a boisterous joy, but a deep, silent, steadfast peace. The kind that says, "I'm no longer in control, but I know everything is under control." It's at this moment that gratitude floods you, not for the visible results, but for the invisible process. For the pain that brought you closer, for the solitude that cleansed you, for the silences that purified you. You realize that what you called waiting wasn't a delay. It was the hand of Allah, slow but precise, bringing you to this exact moment. You no longer pray with fear. You pray with certainty. You no longer ask to fill a void. You ask to align yourself with His will. You no longer simply hope that things will change. You hope to be the one who changes through them. And that's when everything opens up. The doors you thought had always been sealed begin to open, one by one. Things that seemed impossible suddenly become fluid, natural, obvious. As if life itself had been waiting for this divine signal to start moving again. Then you realize, Allah has never forgotten you. He has simply written you a story that takes time to understand. A story not written in a straight line, but in spirals, lessons, pauses, and disguised miracles. And now, you are at one of those chapters where everything converges. It's time to celebrate. Not with noise, not with vanity, but with awareness. This is the moment when you stand, your heart at peace, your eyes moist, and you say, "Oh Allah, everything I went through was worth it." Because when Allah says, "It is time," the locks fall. Fears melt away. Blockages vanish. And what you called impossible becomes your reality. But this hour is not an end. It is the beginning of another calling. For every breakthrough contains another. Every blessing opens a new responsibility. Every light calls you to greater depths. Allah never gives to lull you to sleep. He gives to awaken you to a higher height. And it is there, in that moment when your soul stirs, that you hear again that silent voice in your heart. I promised you, you were not alone. It was me from the beginning. So you breathe, you close your eyes, and you understand. This isn't a coincidence. This isn't luck. This is your appointment. And that appointment is now. What you are experiencing is not a coincidence. What you are feeling is not an end. It is a call. A reminder that your story is not over. That Allah is still writing the next chapters. So don't give up now. Prepare your heart, increase your faith, and expect the unexpected. Because when Allah says, "This is the time," no force in the world can delay what is destined for you. And if this message has touched your heart, share it in turn. Perhaps someone else needs to be reminded that their miracle is closer than they think.